Well, hello and welcome to the Super Connector Show, where I'm delighted to be joined by Jason Harvey, who is the founder and managing director of Common Coffee. Common Coffee is a small batch coffee roastery that's based in Pathhead near Edinburgh, which he opened just over 6 years ago. He's originally from New Zealand, but he's now living in Edinburgh, I believe, unless have you recently moved to London as well?
I'm currently in London. We set
In
up a
between.
cafe here.
Yeah, okay, cool. So, Jason, thank you for joining me. Let's just go straight into it. Just tell us about Common Coffee, what it is beyond just a coffee brand, and
Yeah.
why did you start it?
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for having me, Paul. It's great to connect, and it's great to be here. Common Coffee. It was started 8 years ago in Edinburgh, and I guess it kind of I somewhat fell into it a little bit. I'd been doing coffee and serving coffee at music events, and it was kind of like a part-time business, and there was a bit of some inspiration to move it into like a full-time business. And so from there, we tried to open a little pop-up cafe in London, and that didn't work out so well. But I really enjoyed the coffee industry. So off the back of that, I'd met a farmer, a baker farmer in Scotland, and in his old workshop was a coffee roaster. And I gave him a call one day and said, can we refurbish your coffee roaster? We had this idea to start a coffee roastery or a coffee brand that was just really easy for people that were passionate about coffee to get into the industry, or like to get into coffee. So flavor led and really colorful. And I think at the time the industry was kind of, black and white, brown paper bags, and it was just to bring a bit of vibrancy, I guess, to kind of bring that festival flair to the coffee industry. That's kind of it wasn't super planned. It was one of those things that the current business wasn't working, but didn't want to kind of give up and go back to New Zealand. So how do you pivot? How do you apply what you've learned and start fresh? And that's really hard to do when you don't have too much money. So you kind of go, oh, well, I've met somebody and they've got this coffee roaster and I've got an idea and maybe we can go from there.
Okay.
That's kind of the starting story,
Okay, no, I love that. I didn't know about you working at festivals, music festivals, but like, when you talk about the color in the brand, and it is really bright and vibrant, isn't it? It does stand out. Like if you go on your website straight away, it just looks good. It's like it looks different, like you say, to most of the coffee brands and packaging that's out there. And I'm sure the coffee is delicious, but it is like it is going to grab people's attention when you see that.
Thanks for the compliment. Yeah, well, it is a very colorful brand. Maybe a few challenges to designers. We've had two designers involved over the years. A good friend of mine, Jess, helped us start 8 years ago, and she really kind of brought the whole color palette to life. And kind of when we first launched, we really led with flavor. Our USP, you would say, was that we kind of led. Each product had its own like category, so strong, sweet, bright, and complex. And then each of those flavors had a color associated with it. And so that's how we started. We've recently gone through a little bit of a rebrand and got a new designer. His name's Mark, who's based actually out in Costa Rica. And I said to him, I was like, I know that in design there's a few rules that you're supposed to follow, no more than 3 or 4 colors, but can you do 7, please? And so, it wasn't the easiest challenge, but he got into it. And I think it works. I think it works really well. And we have 7 colors, 6 products, and it's very colorful, like the rainbow, I guess.
Yeah, no, definitely encourage people to. I'll put links underneath this anyway, but I encourage people to go on the website, so to commoncoffee.co.uk to see exactly what we're talking about. But yeah, you've said flavor-led coffee. So what do you actually mean by that, flavor-led?
So I guess I wasn't really from the coffee industry, but as I was getting into it through the events industry, I really enjoyed it. And coming from New Zealand, the quality of coffee has always been really high, and there is great coffee here in the UK, but I think it's a little harder to find, or across the board, it might not be as good a quality, but there is some fantastic coffee in the UK. So not being from the industry, I kind of found it a little bit overwhelming once you got into what I guess is considered what is specialty coffee, which is the part of the market that we operate in. And I think when you know that you really like coffee, but the terminology that's been used within the industry is a little bit overwhelming, I imagine that I wasn't the only person, or we weren't the only people that thought about it in that kind of way. So we tried to pick terms that are of everyday use and which people might use to describe flavor. And so I guess when you start, the most obvious one is strong. When you ask people how do they like coffee, most people go, I like a strong coffee. And so what flavors are associated with that? And typically they're like, dark chocolate and roasted nuts and that kind of stuff. So that was our first one. And so we go, okay, well, you're obviously going to need more products than that. So from there, we built out sweet. So a coffee with really low acidity, but high in sweetness. So you're thinking like honey, brown sugar, caramel, milk chocolate, those kind of flavors. And then bright, which we typically always a wash coffee and is sourced from a nation in Africa. And for that, you're thinking like higher acidity, like fresh, clean, crisp flavors. So you like citrusy fruits and stone fruits and that kind of stuff. And then complex is one that we kind of play around with the most. And so really trying to showcase like the depth of flavors that are available within coffee. So we kind of source that from all over the world. It's always our most expensive coffee, and it tends to be of a natural process or a honey, or one of the more experimental ways of processing coffee, which is like aerobic or anaerobic. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I've not seen, I mean, maybe other brands do describe it like that, but I've not noticed it. So I need to pay more attention. But like that makes perfect sense the way you've described it there.
I guess it was a way to kind of you're trying to make. I guess at the foundations when we first started, we're like, okay, why is not more people in the UK drinking better coffee, and is there an accessibility issue? And I guess that's just where the idea came about from. Like most businesses or most branches, you're kind of trying to solve a problem, and you're assuming that the problem exists and how many people it exists for. And so that's how the idea came to life. And kind of coming from an entrepreneurial family, I didn't, when the first business wasn't quite working, I didn't really want to go home, so we pivoted into coffee, and I'm really glad that we did so.
All right, awesome. So yeah, when you think how many people actually have a coffee, I don't know, you'll know the numbers more than I do, but there's a lot of people who have a coffee, a morning coffee on the way to work, or they just need a nice coffee every day, multiple times a day or whatever. But how many of those actually brew the coffee at home? It's probably quite a small.
I know it's
fraction comparison.
It's the biggest part of the industry is that people brewing coffee at home. I mean, coffee as a hot beverage overtook tea in the UK. I think it was 8 or 9 years ago. So it has been the number one hot beverage. I don't know exactly, but it was a while ago. So it's I think behind oil, it's like one of the most traded commodities in the world.
Is it?
So and it's I think in terms of, if you think of drinks that are drunk all across the world, coffee is up there. It's got to be one of the most popular ones for sure. But the at-home coffee market is growing significantly. Whether it's people buying coffee from the supermarkets or online or at their local independent deli or cafe. It's a huge part of the industry.
Yeah. Well, I said before, I admitted, like, before we went live, like, so it's fairly new for me, right? So I do love coffee, right? And I do love supporting independent coffee shops. So and just the nature of the work, I have a lot of meetings, so I'm always out and about. And if I have a choice, I'll always go to an independent coffee shop in wherever I am, when I'm traveling or through work or whatever. But it's still fairly recently that I've just started using a mocha pot at home,
Yeah, nice.
right?
Yeah.
And it's one of my favorite things. It's like, honestly, it's such a basic thing, but I just love it. I started using my mocha pot about 6 months ago, and it makes me really happy on the morning.
Nice. It's kind of like a ritual. I mean, it's funny you say that mocha pot. It's actually way before moving to the UK, and I was living back in New Zealand. That was my preferred method of brewing coffee when I was not so much getting into coffee, but I worked in the outdoors, and obviously you work with a bunch of other instructors and stuff. And the thing that I always liked to do was to bring the coffee on the hike or the canoe trip or whatever it was that we're doing. And the brewing method was the mocha pot. So I'd always bring the mocha pot, and I enjoyed making coffee for everyone. And I've reflected on that over the years, and I guess there's kind of like I've shared about how Common started, but like this is what I'm about to share is probably where Common's going as a brand and as a business, and what it really means to me personally. And that's what I figured out was that it wasn't so much the coffee that I enjoyed, it was the moment and the people that I shared it with that really kind of brought me the most enjoyment. It's obviously really nice that if it's a good cup of coffee, but I wouldn't want the coffee to be the subject of the conversation. What I'm interested in is everything that's going on around it. And so in that environment, when we were working in the outdoors, it was, like there was that little moment before, all the students got up. So you had like a little half an hour with just the instructors. And it was always like sunrise or, you're in a beautiful location and everyone's just waking up and you pour out a coffee and it's just, it is interesting to see the conversations and how people connect over that beverage. More so than so many, and not more so, but in a different kind of way as opposed to a beer or a glass of wine. So, that's kind of really what has driven me forward with Common past making the start, and that's a central part of the brand now.
Yeah, no, I love that. Well, that makes sense as well. If that's part of your history as well, it is a bit more. It's connecting. We'll talk a bit more about that, but like contemplative as well. Like definitely on a morning, because I'm busy all the time. We've got like me and my partner. We've got 4 kids between us. We've got a dog. We've got a cat. We've got like quite a busy life. We're always doing stuff, right? But on a morning, actually, I like getting up about half an hour before anyone else and just putting the mocha pot on and just like taking my time. I mean, it doesn't take that long, but it's faster than just putting the kettle on or a coffee machine. It's just like, like you said, it's like the ritual of just waiting for the water to boil, and then the way it comes out, it's like a volcano. It's exciting as well. And then when you pour the coffee, and then the smell, and then it's typically much stronger coffee than other types of coffee that we have in the house. And then just having that time where I'm usually sitting planning my day ahead, just thinking about what I'm going to do that day. That's something fairly recent for me as well. Gone through phases of journaling and stuff like that, but like I usually try and plan out my day ahead with the coffee, just me, quiet before anyone else. And I love that. And then the rest of the day when I have a coffee, it's usually with other people. It's in a way that I wouldn't make a juice or something and sit and share a juice with someone else necessarily, unless we're sat having a meal.
I mean, I guess, the word connection is a vocal point of the brand now. The tagline for Common is connecting over coffee, I should say, connecting over coffee. And I guess that connection can be with other people or it can be with yourself.
Mhm.
and hopefully obviously it takes place over a cup of coffee. So
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, pretty important, I think, that
Mm.
that experience of the of a cup of coffee.
Yeah, no, definitely. It might be, I think it's on your website. I read it, so if not, I've just imagined it. But I think you do write something about, those moments when you do connect with people, like maybe like a first date, or like
Yeah,
you going out with your friends, or even like the number of times I've met someone for a coffee who's like a business owner, an entrepreneur, a funder, an investor, where I've had a meeting over a coffee. It's usually a meeting over a coffee, and
yeah,
how many ideas have come off the back of that. It's It'll easily be in the thousands. The number of meetings that
yeah,
I've had with people over the years. Yeah, over ten years, I've usually had multiple meetings a week, um, where we've come up with new ideas over a coffee. So yeah, the impact of that must be huge.
well, yeah, and I think if you just take that for yourself and you apply that to all coffee drinkers, and
Yeah.
it's I guess infinite almost, like the amount of ideas and connections that have been made over a cup of coffee. And you know it's funny you come back to the term ideas, because I guess we've kind of just I guess, what's the right way to put it, is we've reevaluated our purpose as a brand, and
Yeah.
which is to inspire moments of connection and curiosity.
Yeah.
And I think, just to kind of expand upon that, obviously we've talked about connection, but the term curiosity is like, okay, so especially when you're a kid, you're super curious. Like, kids are just naturally curious, and sometimes as an adult you forget
Mhm.
to explore that part of you.
Mhm.
And so I think it's interesting that, because coffee is a drug, it does stimulate the mind, and those ideas, they come to fruition. And if you're then sitting with somebody, or you've got your journal in front of you, you might share that idea, or you might write it down, or something like that. And to think about how many ideas in the world that shape the world that we now live in has
Mhm.
come out of has come out of an experience that had coffee in it, is just
Mhm.
incredible. I think it's incredible.
Mhm.
Um,
Mhm.
Recently, or not recently, about a year and a half ago, I was in Dubai for the World of Coffee, which is the
Mhm.
first time I've ever been in Dubai, and a really unique experience, and amazing culture, and you know, very warmly welcomed by everyone. But have you been to Dubai before?
6 years ago, and I only went there because I won a flight in a
Oh
raffle.
wow,
Which is like,
yeah,
I was at a dinner, like an awards dinner, and I won two flights to Dubai with Emirates. Right. Anyway, I loved it. I was like
yeah,
really impressed with. Yeah, I just came away thinking this is incredible. Like the opportunity everywhere, all around, and my plan was to go back out there again, but then COVID happened, and I haven't been back since. But I am thinking of going back again soon,
okay, yeah,
to see
cool,
what I can do out
yeah.
there.
So I'm going back. We're going back again in January, back to the World of Coffee
Okay.
in 2027. But one of the thoughts that I had while I was there was, obviously they don't drink any alcohol, so that's not part of the culture. And there's coffee shops everywhere, and the coffee is exceptional. And but as most people know, like, Dubai, in terms of like what it is as a city and the buildings and stuff, that has all come to fruition in the past 50 to 60 years.
Mm,
And
mhm,
behind that idea, there would have been a vision of, which maybe started as, I'm not too sure on the exact history of it, but it maybe started as 1 or 10 or 15 people. And obviously over the years, it slowly expanded. But what you see in front of you when you're there in the UAE and in Dubai, it existed in somebody's mind as an idea
mhm,
literally within our lifetime, and you can
mhm,
now see it. And
mhm,
it's, obviously people have added to it over the years, and I couldn't help but think, because of how prominent coffee is in their culture, that you know what you see in front of you, coffee played in such an important role. And
mhm.
So that really fascinates me, and I think when I kind of take that line of thinking and try and apply it to how we experience coffee now, whether it's in London, Edinburgh, UK, New York, wherever we are we experiencing it to stay awake, or are we experiencing it for the reasons and maybe what it was used what it was originally traded for? And so without going or embarrassing myself, because I'm not so clued up on my history, but like I do know that a lot of coffee shops in Paris and London, through the 17 and 1800s, that there's a lot of political and social ideas that came out of those places.
Oh yeah,
met and discussed things and debated things, and I think it was it's played such an important role in shaping the world that we see now.
Yeah, no, totally. Yeah, you're right. Like throughout history, yeah, art, culture, philosophy, yeah, literature, and coffee houses that's where it all happened. So yeah, it's still happening, but yeah, people have other. I don't know, probably have too many other options to do with their time now. But yeah, trying to get people to. But so it's in recent years, people are a lot more health conscious as well, so they're not drinking alcohol as much, are they? So that's probably a good thing, or maybe a good thing for coffee. They're looking for other places to go.
A lot of the studies are suggesting that that's the case, and that coffee is becoming more popular. So it's things like matcha, and then coffee like cafes and those kind of third spaces become more and more popular, especially with the younger generation not drinking as much not drinking as much alcohol and turning to the likes of coffee. And then we have to kind of think about what hours we're open. So traditionally a cafe might be open from say 7 in the morning till 3 p.m. But like there's a growing demand for cafes to be open later and to serve these options further into the night. And you see that especially when you're in the UAE and in the Middle East.
Yeah. So. Yeah. Where apart from your website, and obviously people can buy directly from your website, and you can subscribe. You can get like mail order subscriptions to your coffee. Can people buy it in? You've got a few shops, is that right? As well.
Yeah, we supply we have our own cafe called Maven, and we've got one site in Edinburgh and one site in London. So they serve all our coffees, and so yeah, you can buy retail bags from there as well. And then we have our wholesale customers, especially in Edinburgh. There's a number across the city that you can buy up there. We open our little roastery on a Friday. So if you're in Path Head or Midlothian and you want to come say hello and taste some coffee directly from the roastery, that's open Rosemary Steading, like 9 till 2. So a number of places. The easiest places to buy online, however.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm going to get some. I'm going to get some. But your cafe got a coffee shop in Edinburgh. Is it next to Charlotte Square?
That's one. Yeah. It's up by Charlotte Square. Yeah, on George Street. Yeah.
Me and my partner, we live in the northeast of England, but we usually go up to Edinburgh around about November time.
Okay.
I mean, I go up there all the time through work, but we stayed up there like on Charlotte Square in November. I remember walking past it and I didn't go in, but I'm definitely going to go in.
Sweet. Yeah, nice. And, pop in and say hello.
Yeah. Here's a thought for you. It just popped into my head. Do you supply any gyms with coffee?
Not currently any gyms. No gyms. We've been inquiring at a couple of rock climbing places. Obviously, we talked about Instant just before we went live, and so we have a specialty Instant, which is like fantastic for the outdoors, or if you're traveling. So yeah, definitely a more premium product. Super lightweight, comes in a jar with 20 servings, or a retail box that has 5 sachets in it. So that's really targeted at the outdoor community and and people on the move. So we've got Stuart, who does some of our, who's based up in Edinburgh, does our sales and business development. He's got a few climbing gyms on his radar and a few outdoor shops at the moment. Yeah, awesome. And I guess we from a NGO partnership, we work with Protect Our Winters and 1% from the Planet, and so that's kind of forms that whole ecosystem and the whole part of the business. And I guess then taking it back a step, like I talked about at the start, like I'm from the outdoor industry, so like I guess that kind of brings the whole thing full circle. It's like a product that is of high quality, is easy to carry, it's super light, and to be enjoyed in the outdoors.
Yeah.
Might take away a little bit of the ritual of making the mocha pot, but sometimes people prefer the lightweight.
Yeah. Honestly, a mocha pot changed my life because I over the years this, like when I've gone on holiday to a European country and in the drawer there's a mocha pot, and I just think, I don't even know what that is. I don't know what to do with it. And then it's actually a friend of mine who created his own coffee brand, which hasn't really took off. Like, I think he's been busy doing other things, but he gave me some coffee before we went away on holiday we went to Barcelona last summer, and took some coffee with me, expected there to be a mocha pot in the apartment, and sure enough there was one. Oh, nice. And I just loved it, and I was just like, right, okay, I'm gonna get a mocha pot as soon as I go home, and this is gonna be my life now. I'm gonna
and
it's
so you've got your brew down packed, and like
it's good. Nice. Is your coffee, it's all freshly ground? Is it?
Yeah. So when you go on the website, it's all beans, and then you pick how you would like it roasted. Yeah. How you like it ground, I should say.
Okay.
Yeah. So
you can so I could get some for the mocha pot.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. Very good. I'm definitely gonna get some. And I do normally go for stronger coffee, but should I try something else, do you think?
Well, I think because the brewing method is, it's the way in which the mocha pot works is like it's a lot of heat and it's forcing the hot water up through the coffee and then kind of through the top. So, not the same as espresso, but the kind of a similar idea. The boiling of the water is creating the pressure to push the water up and through. So from our range, I would recommend, we have a bold, which is like, when we first started, we had, like I said, strong, sweet, bright, and complex. And then a few customers and people were like, oh, we need something that's like a little bit stronger and like a little bit of a darker roast and a slightly cheaper price point. So we came out with bold. So I know the two names are a little bit confusing. I don't know. Maybe we'll change it to extra strong one day, but at the moment it's bold. So you could go for bold or strong. The sweet would work well as well, but I would say that potentially the complex and the bright, it wouldn't showcase the coffees, and that brewing method would not be the best way to showcase the coffees.
Okay, no. Yeah. Where's about? I mean, I like the word bold. It's it's kind of, I like to think of myself as quite bold and make things happen and come up with ideas and go for it. So that sort of resonates with me.
Sweet.
Yeah, I'm gonna get some. Just going back to the gym idea, I'll stop in a minute. But the reason I'm saying this is because one of my good friends is a world-renowned videographer. So he travels the world, like filming elite athletes, MMA fighters, boxers, gym owners, like influencers, all that. A lot of them are in Dubai and all around the world, right? And he's saying from what he's seen from all the gyms that he goes around, gyms are becoming much more like adult social clubs where people are like just hanging out there and living their life there. So yes, they're going to the gym, but they're wanting co-working spaces, hot desking. They're wanting to basically just hang out there and spend all of their time there. Okay, so cool. So he was saying that's the big trend now that he's seeing, that they're moving beyond just gyms to being more of lifestyle hubs. Yeah. So that's why I'm thinking maybe that's something to jump on.
Yeah, actually, it's a good point. I mean, even I belong to a little climbing gym down in Brixton here in London, and I was speaking to the owner a couple of months ago, and he said he was putting in some co-working desks so people could spend more time there. So I mean, it must be a trend that is definitely taking off, which kind of makes sense. I guess people, more and more people, I guess, working for themselves or being able to work from home 1 or 2 days a week, and obviously the emphasis on health, which you're starting to see come through.
Yeah, and if they can have a coffee or bite to eat when they're there, that's great. Like maybe using your coffee or even grab a bag on the way out, on the way home. That could be
sure.
Yeah, very cool. So I know you've talked about how you started, but why did you come from New Zealand to the UK to start a business? What was the story behind that?
At the time, there was no real plan behind it. I kind of hopped on a plane and was travel to Europe, just a one-way ticket, I guess. Not really knowing. I was just looking to travel. Went to a few festivals. Did a boat trip in Croatia. Traveled through Europe across the summer, which was super nice. And I kind of had an inkling that I always wanted to do my own thing. Both my parents ran their own businesses, so I kind of grew up in that entrepreneur environment. And and I kind of just finished up in the education sector back in New Zealand. And whilst I really enjoyed it, it didn't fully resonate with me. So I guess when I left New Zealand, it was a little bit of soul searching. And through a series of events, just ended up before the coffee, actually just selling ice at music festivals. So there wasn't even any coffee involved. It was just selling ice. And it was very much that kind of, we were at festivals and you couldn't buy ice. And then you started speaking to a few people and they're like, actually, you can never buy ice at a music festival. And I don't know. I think that's where that kind of like, oh, well, let's just give that a go. And maybe it's a combination of my upbringing and being a Kiwi, and it's just like, okay, well, let's just, if no one's doing it, let's try it and give it a go. And I think there's a certain amount of there's that balance of ambition and naivety and kind of will to give it a crack. Is definitely needed in startup mentality. Because I think if you overthink it and run if you're starting a business selling ice, you'd probably run a pros and con analysis and you'll end up on the con. Let's not do that. But anyhow, that's how things got going. And so it was from there, it was kind of follow your nose. And that was all well and good up until maybe 4 or 5 years ago. When things got really, really tough, and it was, probably, I don't like to look back. It's not that I don't like to look back on it, but if you go back to the pandemic period and, being in Scotland, and by that time, business partners had stepped away, and so, Scotland, no family around really. Most of my friends were in London. A couple of cafes, a roastery, 25 employees, and just kind of stressed up to the max. And I guess first of all, you put on your survival hat and you kind of, okay, well, how do you just kind of get through this and survive? And unfortunately, one of the cafes went into liquidation. I voluntarily closed one of the other cafes, had to let a number of people go, which is one of the most difficult things you can do in business, and especially during challenging times. And so, I actually took myself out of the business and went and worked for a restaurant, just simply to keep it alive. So went from 25 employees to 1. I went and worked part-time and just did what you could to keep the business alive. And during that time, I started having to go, well, it's got to be more than just coffee. So what is it? Why am I actually doing this? And I guess, that's when the process started of, okay, well, what is the purpose of this business? What can I really, when the going gets tough, fall back on as a motivator outside of, you know, selling coffee or just simply running a business, because I kind of need that. And I think it's not that I just need it. I think it's vital to a business to have a reason for being that people can resonate with and buy into. So that's where that redefined purpose of to inspire moments of connection and curiosity came from, and so from there, the essence of the business and the brand changed.
Okay, no, thanks for sharing that. Well done for keep going, because I know that must have been tough. And similar, well, a lot of businesses went under because of COVID, and even my business was very focused on running events. I was doing other work as well, but it was primarily an events-based business, relying on ticket sales and sponsorship. And obviously, I couldn't run any events during COVID, so I moved things online, and it was going all right, but it was nowhere. Income fell off a cliff. It was nowhere near where I was before, and then I went back into employment for a couple of years. Didn't want to shut the business down. I just kept it going in the background, but took a job, worked in recruitment for 2 years, tech recruitment, not something I'd ever thought I would do, but it was exactly what I needed. A bit, like, took the pressure off, good money, nice to be part of a team again. I could still help businesses, just in a different way, focused on finding talent, but still helping businesses grow. But I knew I wasn't going to do it forever. It was like, I'll do it for 1, maybe 2 years. And that's exactly what I did. Dead on 2 years. I just left and picked up where I left off, because I was ready to go back again, and the world seemed ready to do events again. And just, it's been going really well ever since. It's just, but I needed that time to get my mojo back as well.
For sure.
No, very good for it. It's tricky, isn't it? Like, well, staying motivated, especially when you're small business or when you're on your own, and like you have to dig deep sometimes. And it's obviously you got friends or family, but if they're not doing what you're doing, they don't always understand. And if you don't have that network of like-minded people around you, it's difficult. So how did you do it? How did you keep motivated or get you? Did anyone help you sort of get that purpose back?
Well, so I've got a very supportive family. So my parents are now involved in the business. They're back in New Zealand. So they kind of had a really, they ended up working together and running their businesses together. But they did it with, their parents around. This is going back like 15, 20 years. And, and a support network back in New Zealand. So I think they really understood what I was going through at that time. And so, I mean, they were super supportive. And then I had a couple of friends that would just, pick up the phone at least every week or every couple of days, or I would, catch up with them once a month. And, as you do, you kind of doubt yourself or doubt the business a little bit. And it's like at those little moments that they kind of just give you a little bit of the motivation that you don't have internally, and just kind of, come on, it is good. Like, you're making progress, and point out the things that are going well, and just enough to kind of, keep things, I guess, like keep things ticking along. But, and I think that's crucial, and that's really important. I'm really, really thankful to have that kind of core group of people around me who I'm still very close with, obviously family and friends. But I do think that only lasts so long, and then you need the internal motivation, so you need to get yourself back to a point where you're internally motivated. So I guess part of that is what's important to me as a person, and to how I want to kind of live my life, and and how can I explore some of that through business and potentially help other people explore that. So that's one part of it. And then I think the other part is health. And we kind of touched on a bit of this at the start of or before the podcast started. So just personal health and and exercise routine. And I've actually got a dog, Larry, who's in a few of the photos. That was a big decision to get him. That was right at the time when there was still 2 cafes and 25 employees and all that going on. And I was like, I'm going to get a dog. I don't know why or how. And a few friends were just like, it'll work itself out. Like, just make the decision, and go with it. And sure enough, it did, and it does. But I think at the time when you're in that kind of that, I don't want to call it a rut, but you're in that period of time where you're working 7 days a week, you're working 100+ hours a week, and it's just, you don't know when, you can't see the end of it. And I was maybe a bit crazy, but I was probably coming towards the end of that. I was down at more like 70 to 80 hours a week, and you decide to get a dog, which makes no sense to most people. But what it does do is it gave me a routine. It forced me to stop. It forced me to get up and go for a walk in the morning, in the middle of the day, at the end of the day. And it's like in those little moments that actually, I guess, dropped some of the stresses, and just doing something that wasn't, well, I mean, I was doing it for me, but obviously you're doing it. I was doing it for Larry, or for my dog. And it's in those moments that your brain just slowed down a little bit. And it's like the kind of solutions to the problems that you were worrying about or stressing came to you. And you're like, oh, actually, I could deal with it this way. Or actually, I know this person that could help me with this problem, and I'll just give them a phone call. And, you give them, like, oh, I haven't heard from you in ages. Oh yeah, absolutely, I can help with that. It's just a different way of thinking. And so, yeah, that was one turning point. And I wouldn't say that there was any one thing, but it's, just putting a bit more intention on health and well-being meant that I probably got back a lot of my internal motivation to move things forward.
Yeah, no, I love that. Well, we got a dog in September, and I've never. It's my first dog. I'm 49. I've never had a dog before. I've always been a cat person, and never really known what to do with dogs. Like, they always make a beeline for me, but I never knew what to do with them. But we got one, a beautiful Pouchon, like cross between a poodle and a Bichon Frise, and she's amazing. And like you say, like having a dog that's unconditional love, always happy to see you, but forcing you to, in a good way, to go out for a walk.
Yeah,
because it's so easy, definitely, when you run your own business, to just get stuck just working all the hours, and you're just pushing on through, and then you're not realizing that it's diminishing returns. Like, you're getting more and more tired, and your brain's not functioning as well as it could. And yes, you might drink more coffee, but like that'll only get you so far. But actually going for a walk is a really good thing to do, to clear your head, and ideas will come to you, and you'll just fresh perspective. So yeah, having a dog is a great hack, a life hack for anyone.
And I think it's funny. I've reflected on it in the past, is that I have a few friends that run a few businesses in London, and they're maybe like 4 or 5 years ahead of me on their journey. And I do remember once I was 2 or 3 years in, they all said, make sure you look after yourself, like put yourself and your health first. And I was like, yeah. And then you try and work all the hours, and then you go through the process of not doing the advice that they said. And then you go, oh, they did say to do that. And once you do it, everything else improves. And it's like, I think that's just a funny lesson. I mean, obviously it'd probably be ideal if you didn't have to learn it on your own, but like, we all just seem to have to learn it on our own. I end up like catching up with them. Like, I remember that piece of advice you gave me 4 or 5 years ago. Yeah, I didn't really listen to it. I've implemented it now, and it's made a difference. And they just laughed. They're like, oh, we did the same thing, like literally the same thing. And maybe that's just part of the founder story.
Yeah, people have to go through it themselves, don't they? But I know you can tell them, but if they're not ready to do it, I know. Like, there's times as well when I'm like, I've been stuck in a rut in the past, when I was like during COVID, and just working like really hard and thinking, well, why is it not working? It's like sometimes there's just the world, things are just not ready to do what you want to do. It's just like, doesn't matter how hard you push, whatever. But I know personality wise, I've got a tendency, if I'm feeling stressed or overwhelmed, to go in on myself and like go quiet and retreat a little bit. I'm not sad as such, but I'm just like, I don't want to talk to anyone. But actually, when I'm like that, the best thing is to actually talk to someone and get out into the real world and reconnect and spend time with other people and get because I get a lot of energy from other people, and then everything's amazing again. So it's like, but which was hard to do during COVID, obviously. But that's why. That's one of the reasons why I run events. Now we do events every month, and I just think it's so beneficial to me and others to be surrounded by positive, like-minded people who you can bounce ideas off and encourage you and support you. And there's always coffee involved in it as well.
Yeah. So, what kind of events do you run, Paul?
It's a business event. It's called Platform, but we do them in Newcastle every month. We've done them in Edinburgh. We did a few in Edinburgh last year, and did one earlier this year up in Edinburgh. But they're a few hours, 3 hours on a Friday morning. A little bit of informal network, and like me and others are good at connecting and making sure people are speaking to good people and getting what they need from it. And then it's like me and others will talk about what's going on in the region, like what funding is available, what investment opportunities, anything that's wider interest to help people grow their business. And then we'll have a literal show and tell where we'll get businesses get up and talk about what they're doing, what they need help with. And then we finish, we'll have a coffee break. So coffee at the start, coffee mid-morning. And then we come back and have a fireside chat, Q&A interview with a successful entrepreneur, business leader, talking about how they started their business and lessons learned, challenges overcome, advice for others. So
cool.
It's good.
Cool. Send us. Hopefully, can you send us an invite to the next one?
Yeah, no, it would be great for you to come to one and or maybe even speak at one. But I organise them, but I'm a fan. I'm just like sat there loving it. I'm just lapping it up, and and we get. People really enjoy them. I think we've created something very good with what we do there.
Cool, good on you. Nice.
Yeah, no, thank you. So like health, well-being, obviously that's really important if people want to keep going and doing what they're doing. So you've talked about climbing. Are you into yoga as well?
Yeah, I enjoy my yoga. Yeah, kind of funny enough, actually. After rapiding on about that a little bit, I've lost my routine a little bit over the summer. I've been traveling a little bit, but enjoy a bit of yoga, a bit of rock climbing. Kind of got into sauna and spa this summer. Maybe once a fortnight has been really good. In the winter, do a bit of snowboarding. I do a bit of running in the winter, but for some reason I always drop the running in the summer. I don't know why. I enjoy the winter running. Yeah.
Right.
And obviously the dog keeps me, probably walking him at least an hour and a half a day. Try and schedule a few phone calls around that if need be.
Yeah, no, awesome. Well, yoga's a fairly new thing for me. I've done some interviews with some people who are really into yoga and have like online yoga classes, and I think I've always been interested in anything like spirituality, mindset, well-being, all that sort of stuff, but never gone to classes. It always felt a bit of an effort. But the gym that we've joined recently, me and my partner, she's really into fitness as well. So where we've joined, there's classes all the time that you can just drop in on. So I'm going to one later tonight.
Nice.
I'm enjoying it, and I'm probably, it's so obvious to you if you've already done it, but I'm surprised how relaxing and strenuous it is at the same time.
Yeah, it's a bit harder than people imagine. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
There's some movements I'm like, this feels so good. It's just relaxing, and stretching some of this feels really good. Then the next move, it's like, this really hurts, but like I don't seem to be doing anything at all. But it's like really,
Yeah. No, I guess it's to and the main purpose of it is to get you out of your mind and into your body. So yeah.
Yeah. No, I love that. So so what's the big thing that you're working on at the moment, or what's coming up for Common Coffee?
So we've roasted on electric roasters since day one. So we started on a 5 kilo electric roaster, and then we moved to a 12 kilo electric roaster. So and lucky enough, where we are based, which is on Rosemary Steading, it's we're on 100% renewable tariff. So in terms of like scope 1 carbon emissions, so the bit that we have like the most control over, which is our production, obviously apart from vehicle movement and that kind of stuff, we don't produce any CO2 as part of the roasting process, which is really a unique claim for a coffee roastery, because most coffee roasteries operate off LPG or natural gas. So the next kind of project for us really is to how do you scale that, and so that's something that I'm working on at the moment. So that's because currently there's no real 25 kilo. They kind of top out the electric ones around 12 kilos. So how do you kind of grow the business but keep that component of being electric and also 100% renewable? So where we are, Rosemary Steading, we currently produce about 30% of our annual electricity on site, and then we the rest of it comes from a renewable tariff. So that's a large project. So that's why I'm moving back up to Scotland actually in about a month's time.
Okay.
What else is going on? We've been in the US for about just under 12 months now, and we've kind of done all the admin stuff and got the website up and the production and the logistics and doing the trademark, and so now it's time to kind of move things along there. So that's that will be ticking along in the background, and then the team's growing. So we've got some HR work to do, and I'm actually posting a job probably tomorrow now. I was going to post it today, but it will go up tomorrow. So so those are kind of like the things that are on the immediate horizon. We've just, as I said before, we've just done a bunch of branding work and packaging, and we just released pods actually today. I think we just released them on the website today. So if you drink Nespresso pods and you want to buy some pods from us, they are now available on the website. We'll do a bit of a promotion about that in the weeks ahead. But they're available now. So
so they're on your website now. So the bold pods, very cool.
Yeah,
very good. So you got lots of good things going on there, big projects to keep you busy. And I think I read on an interview you did about your first customer in the US, and that's exciting when that happens in new country. So how's that been?
How's it been?
In the US.
Yeah, it's been good. We supply a cafe called Cafe d'Avignon at Time Out Market in Union Square. Been working with Time Out since November last year, which is which is really exciting. And so it's kind of like we've been trialing things, and they've been growing the market, and and working together there. So things are definitely picking up on that front, which is great. And that's kind of the main customer there. So now that we're kind of happy with that, and like it all happened really fast, all happened within the space of got asked to fly out to New York. I flew out to New York 4 days later, had a meeting. I was back in New York 3 weeks later, setting up the customer, and in that time we had to set up production and just all the admin stuff, what it takes to set up a business. So we did it really, really fast. So it's just been kind of once that happened, it's just been like, okay, making sure everything's working properly and the relationships are secure. And now we're very confident with where we're at. And so, kind of pushing forward and trying to get a few more customers on board and move things along. Yeah. So.
Amazing. No, that's exciting. Yeah. Well, New York's not somewhere I've been, but I've like a lot of people, it's somewhere I want to go. It's on my vision board. I've got to go out there at some point. So if I go there, I'll head to the Time Out Market and buy some coffee and send you a photo.
Perfect.
I'll post it online.
Yeah.
I mean, the Time Out Markets, they're all around the world, aren't they? And they're really cool spaces. Very, very vibrant places to be where, lots of creative and entrepreneurial people hang out. So
we're very fortunate to be working with them at this stage, and hope long may the relationship continue for sure.
Very good.
It's a very exciting opportunity.
Cool. Well, I'm definitely going to order some of your coffee. So and then, but if people want to, we'll repeat again. If anyone wants to have a look, it's commoncoffee.co.uk
For the website.
Also, for the website. You're also on Instagram, which is can you remember? I'm putting
II common. So
II common. Why is the II common? Where's that come from?
So part of our logo is two people, and like they are kind of like shaped, and the two people are shaped as little eyes. So when we first started out, that seemed like it's one of those things that's kind of hard when you start out. People call you II common because that's your Instagram handle, and maybe we should have put a dot or a hyphen, and then you kind of go, it doesn't really matter, it's kind of and the brand
people will find it. Well, I'm following you, and people will follow you if they're interested. I'm just looking there. You've got, I don't know if she's just followed because she's seen that I'm doing this interview with you, but there's a lady called Charlotte Nichols, who's following your Instagram account. She's based in Darlington, but she runs a really, really good PR agency, and she's got her own podcast as well.
Nice.
I'm sure she would probably love to know a bit more about. She's probably watching this or listening to this.
Perfect. All right. Well, we'll reach out.
And it's the same on Facebook as well. You've got the same.
Yes, same on Facebook. Yeah.
Very good. Cool. Okay. Awesome.
Right.
Well, thank you very much. I really, really enjoyed that, and you're making me thirsty for coffee. So.
Well, no, thank you, Paul. Enjoy your yoga class tonight. Thanks for having me on. It was great to chat, and I'd love to pop along to one of your events. So please do let me know.
Yeah. No, great. Did you say you're moving back up to Edinburgh? Are you going to be up there?
I'll be back up from in about 4 weeks' time. Yeah.
Okay.
So the roastery and the business is expanding. So and the cafe that we set up down here is now like set up and established. So go back up there and support the team up there to move things along. So I think it's kind of tough when you're like trying to grow the business and trying to figure out where to position yourself, and we're purposely trying to grow it on like a global scale, and that that's quite hard to do when you're small, and but that's the direction we're heading. So it involves a little bit of travel, but Larry doesn't mind a train ride, so we're all good.
Well, obviously London's an amazing city, but I think Edinburgh is a fantastic city, beautiful city, and dead easy to. Well, it's a very international city as well, isn't it? When you go there, it's.
I mean, I couldn't be happier. Get to and get to spend my time between London and Edinburgh, and also get to pop around the other cities in the UK. So it's great. They're both. I'm going to catch a little bit of the Fringe at the end of this week, which will be nice. So I'll pop along on Thursday night. Hopefully, get 1 or 2 shows in.
Yeah, very good. I think anything on the East Coast main line up and down the country is pretty easy. So maybe that's you work your way down at Newcastle. It's dead easy. It's only an hour and a half on the train. So try and get you get your coffee on sale in more places in Newcastle.
Absolutely. Yeah, cool. Well, I appreciate your time, Paul. Thanks for having me on. And hopefully, I hope you enjoy the rest of your week.
All right. Thanks a lot. Cheers, Jason.
Cheers.
Bye. Bye.